Hi everyone, in this video we will see how to create an animation video around a race car. Focusing on different objects, pausing the camera movement, and creating an exploded view. Also, zooming in and out, and hiding objects while the camera moves on. Let's start. Here I have an complete assembly of a Formula Student race car. I have arranged the components in a folder for simplicity. Currently, there are many active mates. In this animation, we wish to create exploded view of front right suspension assembly. So we will delete all the mates, and float all the fixed components if any. Make sure that you delete all the mates on a copy of the main assembly, as these mates are critical. Now, we will create few sketches, to define the motion of camera. Firstly, we will create a circle on the top plane, with car being approximately in the center. Now, we will create a 3D sketch, and create some vertical supports as shown. The height of these supports is approximately up to the center of car height. We will create multiple supports, which will then define the motion of camera. Now, create a new 3D sketch. Create a spline by connecting the ends of these vertical supports. We will make the camera move along this curve. Let's go to the motion study now. Right-click on the lights cameras, and add a new camera. Make sure the camera type is aimed at target. First we will select the camera position. We can directly click the 3D spline for selection. Now selecting the target point, make sure it is something at the center of car. Turning the camera roll, to adjust the view. Now, adjusting the angle to zoom in or zoom out of the car as per the required view. No other parameters needs to be edited. Click on OK. Now we have the first view of animation. Now, we decide at which time duration we want a next milestone of our animation, drag the time at that time. Place a key at this time for newly created camera. Editing the properties of camera at this time. We can move the camera on the spline, we will move it approximately at side view. The position at which we wish to create exploded view of suspension assembly. Click on OK again. Enable the camera view as shown. By right-click on orientation key. Basically the camera moved along the spline from view defined at initial time and view defined at next time step. We will now place keys for front right suspension components. Thus we will define the initial position of these components. If we don't do this, the motion of these components will start from time 0 seconds. Now we will drag the time bar to next milestone. We will move these front suspension components at this time key and define the final positions for them. Make sure the auto key option is enabled, it means the time key will be automatically generated upon moving the component. We will use move component and move each component one by one. The distance can be according to the need of animation. First I have moved the wheel at 300 mm outside, and then I will all other components accordingly. We can see the motion has been generated. Let's check the motion after calculation. We see the wheel slowly moving out between second and third time milestones. Similarly, we will move some components outside one by one as shown, and consequently the motion will be generated for them. Subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for upcoming fun videos. Moving all the components of front right suspension as shown. We are using delta drag, so as to move the components precisely. Let's calculate and see the motion. We have created a exploded view motion for front right suspension components. Now again going to camera, and placing key at this time. Edit the camera properties. We will move the camera a little along the spline now. Also, we will change the target point, and select any point on upright. We will zoom in a little by changing the angle. The suspension parts will be clearly visible by zooming in. Let's check the camera view. We see the exploded view animation of components along with camera motion. We can manipulate the motion, if we want the exploded view to begin after the current camera view is set. Drag the keys to manipulate motions as shown. Basically now the camera will zoom in and shift focus to wheel assembly, and then the exploded view will begin. Let's check the motion again. To bring a pause in the camera movement along the spline, we will simply copy the camera key and paste it. Now, we will again drag the time bar till next milestone, and place a new key for camera. Again, changing the camera properties for next view orientation. We also want the components to go back to their original position. The return motion should start at this time 5 seconds. So we will copy all the previous keys of components at time 4 seconds, and paste it at new time 5 seconds. Dragging time bar at 6 seconds. Copying the keys from time 3 seconds, in which components are at original position. And pasting the keys at time 6 seconds. Thus, the motion is generated for return of these components. Next, we will again create a key for camera, and move camera position along the spline. Since our spline curve is a little higher on other side, we see a smooth rising motion of camera. We will also zoom out to capture the complete car. We will now create a motion for hiding of panels and wings. Dragging the time bar at instance where we want to start hiding of components. And placing key in front of those components. The initial keys are to define initial state of components. The next keys are to define final state of components. Hiding the components at this time instance. We see the components disappearing within this defined time span. Now, we will show these components again. Placing keys to define start of show motion. Now copying the keys from initial position, and pasting it at new position for showing components. Placing keys for camera and editing it. Changing the target to seat again. Lastly, creating a final key for camera. Moving the camera to the last position of spline, to end the animation. We can improve the animation quality by increasing frames per second. Calculating the motion. Let's check the animation again. The animation is completed. We can save the animation as shown. Subscribe to channel and stay tuned for upcoming videos. Thank you.